Before I begin, I would like to ask two questions. You don't have to answer me directly. Just reflect on them honestly and simply answer in yes or no. Ready? Here's question number one. Have you ever been taught how to communicate with others? I assume your answer is yes. Of course, during your childhood, you were taught various polite and kind ways of interacting with others. Now, question number two. Have any of your elders ever taught you how to communicate with yourself? If your answer is yes, then congratulations, you undoubtedly possess a healthy mind. But if your answer is no, don't worry. We are quite habituated to overlook all sorts of important discussions about the necessary habits and practices that one should learn from childhood. Does it give you a clue about the sources of your anxieties? Communication, rather social communication, is one of the earliest and most crucial behaviors that we learn from childhood. It plays a vital role in our development. A child shows her first sign of social communication through a social smile as early as 8 weeks old. Naturally, parents and other family members eagerly await the first words, and even babbling from the child's mouth makes them super excited, isn't it? Here's an interesting fact to be subconsciously aware of. Children learn their early words by imitating adults. Quite obviously, without fully understanding the exact meaning of those words, they repeat them even in front of guests or other outsiders, causing enough embarrassment for parents. This is the time when parents typically do two things. One, they scold and punish the child, and generally, these punishments often involve physically hitting the child. Number two, they set boundaries. Parents recognize that it's time to teach their child the do's and don'ts to ensure their acceptance in the society. Given our familiarity with punitive parenting, I frequently encounter this question: what harm does punishing a child actually cause? I'd be happy to address this question in a separate episode. Returning to our topic, when adults begin instructing children on social etiquette and communication, two frequently overlooked issues arise. One, rather than correcting children with patience, they often criticize them initially. Two, they neglect to teach children how to communicate with themselves. As I mentioned earlier, children begin their social journey by imitating the behaviors of parents or close family members. So, in a way, even though parents are not actively teaching something to the child, continuous learning occurs from the child's end in a passive way. That is true observation. So, children are great observers. If you think they are merely playing and not noticing anything, you are mistaken, my friend. Here are two important notes from this episode. One, mindful communication. Be very mindful about what you say to others in front of your child. Two, guidance and correction. When correcting your child's behaviors or speech, please be equally mindful about what you say to her. Often, we begin with criticism without realizing its potential impact on our children's belief system. And verbal criticism can anytime escalate into physical punishment. We all know that. Later, we may try to compensate by hugging them, kissing their foreheads, or buying them gifts, or allowing them to eat their favorite food. But what we frequently overlook is the fact that children deserve apologies too. When parents consistently criticize their children for their mistakes, in a way they convey to them that their children are not capable enough to handle things on their own. This unintentionally shapes the child's belief system, leading to self doubt and a strong feeling of worthlessness. Additionally, when parents hesitate or completely ignore verbal apologies to their child, especially when they are at fault, it sets a wrong example that It is acceptable not to apologize when making mistakes. Remember, acknowledging mistakes and offering sincere apologies are essential for nurturing healthy communication and self esteem in children. When criticizing children for any of their mistakes, please be mindful of what you are saying. Criticism can be either effective or destructive depending on how skillfully it is employed. While constructive criticism helps children learn and grow, negative criticism reduces their self confidence. As a result, they may start questioning their own abilities. If they continue this practice of doubting their own abilities, it eventually becomes a habit until they reach puberty. So, we often see adolescents, right, that they are withdrawing themselves from social situations. They avoid taking any initiatives and become inactive in the classroom. They hesitate to initiate conversations and often refrain from participating in cultural programs too. Peer groups can also be a source of negative criticism, as can other places your child visits regularly, such as her tuition classes. When a child displays signs of low self confidence or self doubt, and parents are confident that the source is not lying within the family, they should proactively investigate positive external sources of the criticisms that their child is receiving. Imagine an empty plot in your neighborhood that was once expected to become a garden. Because it remained vacant, residents began throwing garbage there, a common behavior often seen in India. Soon, people from all around joined in, using the area as a dumping ground. Now, that place resembles nothing more than a wasteland. The question is, can we still hope for a garden to bloom on that dumping ground unless the residents become aware of their actions? Just like that, when a child or an adolescent's mind is filled with an extraordinary amount of negative self judgment, it becomes very difficult for them to absorb new learnings, especially in academics. Their mind is preoccupied with pointing out flaws, guilt, or feelings of unworthiness all the time. So, how can we expect such a poor soul to excel in the curriculum with such a disturbed state of mind? Generally, we focus on teaching children various skills but often overlook the crucial importance of nurturing positive self talk for their overall development. While we prioritize teaching children how to communicate with the world, we rarely consider teaching them the skill of self compassion. We don't teach them how to be kind to themselves when they make mistakes. Nor do we guide them on being polite with themselves when they feel angry or frustrated. Being kind to oneself and practicing positive self talk are foundational skills that significantly contribute to a child's overall well being and success. Unfortunately, formal educational institutions seldom teach these essential skills. As parents and caregivers, we are the ones who can inspire and instill these practices in our children. Low self esteem, self doubt, negative self efficacy. These often stem from childhood exposure to critical feedbacks. Unfortunately, there is a common misconception in our society that negative criticism motivates children positively. They feel challenged and then put in 100% effort to improve. I'll address this misconception in a different episode. Parents often unintentionally transfer their anxieties to their children by sharing negative predictions about uncertain future events. Consequently, children automatically become apprehensive about the future. Moreover, if they already struggle with low self esteem and self doubt, They tend to avoid challenges rather than learning to embrace them. Raising awareness and making slight changes in parenting perspectives can lead to transformative results. So, how does positive self talk work? How can we inspire children to adopt this healthy habit? What are the consequences of positive self talk? How does it contribute to children's holistic development? To learn more, stay tuned to my channel for the upcoming video. I hope this video was helpful. Please consider sharing the video with other parents in your network. By supporting each other in learning better parenting, we contribute to building a more hopeful world for the next generation.